Welcome everyone. You all enjoyed the first two sessions, I'm sure. In today's session, Dr. Apte will talk about circadian rhythm and dinacharya or daily routine. I also encourage you, instead of raising your hand, if you write your question in the chat, Dr. Apte will answer your questions in her question and answer session. Now let's get started. Over to you, Dr. Apte.
Thank you, Hema, and thank you everybody for joining. Let us begin with a prayer. So everybody close your eyes, take a deep, long breath. With each inhalation, balloon the belly. With each exhalation, pull the belly in. So that is called diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. With each inhalation, ballooning the belly. And with each exhalation, pulling the belly in. And just observe your breath. Feel the movement of the belly. Now observe your mind. And when the mind holds on to the breath, it slows down, becomes more peaceful. And becomes tranquil. Like when there is a lot of dirt in the water, we cannot see the bottom. But when the water settles down, all the mud sits to the bottom, the water becomes very clear. So when mind calms down, it starts becoming more clear and focused and peaceful. And I'm going to chant mantra. Om Sarvepi Sukhinas Santu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see the reality behind life. May there be no pain or suffering in the universe. May there be peace at the physical level, peace at emotional level, and peace at spiritual level. And keeping this peace within, gently open your eyes. And namaste, everybody. So we are on third weekend. And first weekend we saw about what is definition of health Ayurvedically. And I explained you our relationship. We always say as above, so below. So how we are related to the nature and the three natural energies, the water energy is kapha, the fire energy is pitta, and the wind energy is vata dosha, and how we are related to those doshas. how those doshas move during the day, during the season, in our life cycle and all that. Then last weekend, we talked about let my food be my medicine. And you know, many of us, we live to eat, but only few people eat to live. But in the midst of living to eat, what happens? We go so overboard that unfortunately food starts eating us. And all these diseases like diabetes and hypertension and obesity and high cholesterol and all, most of the time our eating becomes the cause of the problem. And that's what we eat, what should we eat? Very wholesome food, fresh food, organic food, all is important. But Ayurvedically, the second part also is even more important, that how well you digest that food. If your digestive system is very strong, then very simple foods, very difficult foods also, you will be able to digest well. But if you are eating gourmet food, if you are eating organic food, homemade food, and your digestive system is not functioning well, then you will have more digestive issues and all that. So we have to pay attention to our digestive system, that fire. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. I said is the thumb-sized pilot light on around our navel, and we have to protect it because our energy, our health, our life, our prana, everything depends on that Agni. And also I said that Jivanakari Jivitva Anna He Purna Brahma. So for all living beings, for all of us, food is like a Brahman, because food is nourishing your body, food is nourishing your mind, even food is nourishing your soul. When we really eat very wholesome food and we always say, oh, this is like a soul food, I'm so happy. My soul is also very happy. So for this food, Annamaya Kosha, this physical body also is called Annamaya Kosha. So the food feeds everything. That's why it is called Anna He Purna Brahma. And Udara Bharana Nohe, don't just fill the bag, don't just take a bite, don't eat around the run and all, but make it a ritual. Make it like yajna, make it like home. You just are very meticulous, very, you follow all the steps and rituals and all that. So make food that way, because you are nothing but you eat food. And at the end, I also mentioned to you that pathe sati gadarthasya bheshajam grahane nakim. So if you are going to follow the food guidelines, then why do you need medicine? That means you will stay healthy. And I also told you that staying healthy is in your hands. Treating the disease may be in your doctor's hand or Ayurvedic practitioner's hand, but staying healthy is in your hands. And if you follow all these guidelines, definitely you will stay healthy and you can prevent most of the diseases, and you will be in 80s and 90s and all. You will be doing so many things if you keep on doing good things and all that. Very, very important. And along with what you eat, when you eat, where you eat, how you eat, why you eat, those things are also equally important. And that's what I gave you all those guidelines, and I also sent you the link. So because just listening to it only once, you may not remember everything, but when you hear it or read it over and over again, then it will kind of sink in you, and then you will start changing few things. Okay, so today we are going to go one step further, and we are going to talk about Dinacharya or Rutucharya. So let me just share my presentation with you. Okay, so as Hema mentioned to you, that circadian rhythm or the Dinacharya. So what is circadian rhythm? Circa means around the clock. So the natural clock, nature's clock, and our internal clock, the clock in our each and every cell. And I told you that yatra pinde tatra brahmande. So what is in one cell is also like in the universe. So we are the miniature of the whole universe. So if that is the true, that means each and every cell will follow the nature cycle. And that's what this Ayurvedic Dinacharya is all about, is the daily routine. And that daily routine is very interesting, very simple, but very interesting. So what is our fact of life? That everybody is, I'm just going to reduce this. So everybody is always under stress. And why is that? Because we do everything, but not at the right time. And I remember one of my cousins, he is a successful business person. And somebody was asking him, what is your secret of being so successful? So he said, most of the time, I was at the right place at the right time. And that is true too. In all the cases, always remember that suppose you have some project deadline and the project is going to end by end of May. And for some reason you couldn't finish it and you finish it in June, that means you did the right thing, but not at the right time. What they use? School going children, they have some assignment due maybe last night, but they didn't finish it. So they're submitting that assignment today, but they use because it's all gone. We go to the airport to catch the flight. And if my flight is at noon, I better reach at the airport around 10:30 or so I can board on time and take the flight. If I reach the airport even 10 minutes late, what they use? Because the flight will take off. So that's what we do. We sleep, but when not on time, but we sleep at midnight or 1 o'clock or even 2 o'clock early in the morning. We wake up, but not at 6 a.m., but we wake up at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. We eat our lunch, not at noon, but maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we do the right things at the wrong time. And what is the effect of that? Effect is the stress, anxiety, worry, fear. And you can see this picture here, this girl, all the anxiety disorders, then she starts breathing rapidly, her heart is pounding, her heart, she is getting palpitations, she feels dizzy, her blood pressure is high, she may get nausea, she may get constipated, she may get diarrhea, all these tremors in the hands, all these things. And she will end up taking the medicine for each and every symptom. But remember, if her problem or if her cause is not doing things at right time, then just taking the medicine is not going to help, because unless the cause is gone, effect does not wear off. And that's why if you want to get rid of your symptoms, you always have to remove the cause. And that's why this daily routine will help you a lot. So here we always like to live very free life. Nobody should tell me when I should go to bed. Nobody should tell me what I should be waking up. I will sleep, I will eat anytime, I will take shower anytime, or even I won't take it. So doing things haphazardly, and that causes a lot of stress. And still people are working 24/7 and still things are not getting done. So they just pray that maybe there are 48 hours in a day, but which is not true. But they're constantly on the go, but work is never ending, and that builds a lot of stress and anxiety. And remember, we all are living in this multitasking world, and they did a lot of research on this, but multitasking never works because your mind is jumping from one thing to another, which builds stress and your work does not get done. So if you are doing only one thing at a time, and I know all of us grew up in that culture. Our parents told us that you have to be ekachitta, that is single pointedness. That means do one thing at a time, then you will do it right. But in this current life, we all are doing multitasking, and that affects our health, not only physical health, emotional health, and all that. And you know that emotional health is on the front burner these days. People are having a lot of issues. So that's why what is ideal to do is to have the routine, to our life, routine at our work, routine doing everything in our day and life. So why routine helps? Look at this picture, the picture on the left. All those papers are mishmashed and there is no order and there is chaos and all that. And the picture on the right is, it's a notebook. The paper is clipped with the paper clip. There is a pencil to make notes and all that. So when you are organized, when even you make a to-do list, when you wake up in the morning and all, then you get everything done without any confusion. Then your mind is focused into that and you have some time left to do more things. And do you know, it's so funny that there is a research and they say almost 50% of our life is wasted in finding things. And if there is a lot of clutter, if there is a lot of chaos, then we end up spending time in finding things and causing more stress. Instead of that, you be more organized, plan your whole day, do the right thing at right time, and you will really see at the end of the day, you feel happy that you did so many things, everything got done, and I still have a lot of time left, and I'm not stressed. I'm really happy. It also improves the focus and awareness. That's what I said. People who organize things, they have to-do list. Even women, when they know exactly what they're going to cook and all that. When their idea is done, then their cooking is almost done, because actual cooking doesn't take a lot of energy. But what I'm going to cook, do I have all the ingredients to cook and all that? That thought creates a lot of stress. And then finally what happens? We order pizza. We go out to eat. We get something frozen. We just microwave it and eat it. So if you plan it ahead of time, your life will be more organized and it will have a structure and you will not get overwhelmed or stressed. So that's what Ayurvedic Dinacharya is about. It is tuning in our clock with nature's clock. Because I said, yatra pinde tatra brahmande, or as above, so below. So if you stay in tune with nature, that means if you follow nature's clock to your own, to doing your own things, then naturally you will do it right. And that's what, when you stay in tune with nature, you are doing the right thing at the right time and also right way. And there is no way you will go wrong if all these things are happening rightfully. And what is this? When you do this, what happens? It's a perfect prescription for preventing the disease. And my grandmother, why I got into Ayurveda is I was just from my childhood, I was watching her and she was so meticulous and she was so organized and followed the routine that she passed away when 96, no disease, just the old age, no diabetes, no hypertension, no cancer, no nothing. And I said, that's what kind of a life I want to live. And when I learned Ayurveda, that's what I felt, that she was following Ayurveda from A to Z. And when we can prevent most of the diseases and all, we are naturally, we are always happy and more peaceful. And we are doing a lot of social work. We are helping other people. We are exercising. We are traveling. We are doing the right thing. And that's what our goal is in these golden years. So now let's talk about this daily routine or dinacharya. And I told you we have to stay in tune with nature. So this circle is the nature cycle. So from sunrise to about 4 hours, depending on the season, that will change a little, but just to understand, I have given here time 6 to 7 a.m. to next 4 hours is to 10 to 11 a.m. This is kapha time, and kapha is the water energy. What is the that energy does to us? Kapha is the strength. Kapha is endurance. Kapha is building new cells in the body. So we are very strong in the morning. And you will notice it when you wake up early in the morning, get ready and start doing things, and you will get a lot of things done, or almost your whole day's work done in this morning 4 or 5 hours. It's that important. Then in the afternoon, from around 10 to 11 to 2 to 3 p.m. is the Pitta time. And this Pitta is the fire energy. And what does Pitta do? Mainly digestion, that means transformation, anything changing. From the food you eat, body is building new cells, maintaining your body temperature, all the ideas and clear thinking and your vision. And all those are the functions of Pitta dosha. And Pitta is at the peak in the afternoon. So you can see between 10 to 11 and 2 to 3, roughly 12 to 1 is the peak of Pitta. And that's what Ayurveda says, make your lunch as a main meal and eat it during like in the afternoon. That will help you a lot. Then in the late afternoon or early evening from 2 to 3 p.m. to 6 to 7 p.m. is the Vata time. And Vata is the wind energy. And mainly Vata is the time to do a lot of mental work. Kapha is to do the physical work. Vata is to do more mental work. And so if you had done all the work and paperwork and everything, then Vata afternoon is the time kind of to think about it, to discuss it with somebody, brainstorming, having the meetings, all those kind of things you can do it in the afternoon. That is the best time. So remember, you can do anything any time of the day. You are responsible for it. But if you follow your routine according to nature's cycle, then nature is helping you. Think about it. When you're swimming in the river, if you're swimming, following this daily routine, you're swimming with the current. Current is pushing you in the right direction. But if you're not following the right times, then you're swimming against the current. So you have to fight to reach your destination. But because you're swimming against the current, there are a lot of hurdles in it. It is difficult for you to reach it. So the wise way is to use this nature's time to do your things. And remember, this just knowing this 4 hours in the morning is Kapha time, afternoon is Pitta time and all that, that is the Mother Nature's secret. And Ayurveda reveals all these Mother Nature's secret for us to follow and make a use of it and to maintain our health. Okay. So after in the evening, again, the same cycle of 3 doshas repeats. So 4 hours after sunset is also Kapha time. Then from 10 to 11 a.m. to 2 to 3 p.m., 10 to 11 p.m. to 2 to 3 a.m. is the Pitta time. So morning Pitta, afternoon Pitta digests food, but night Pitta builds new cells, heals your body and all that. And early morning from 2 to 3 a.m. to 6 to 7 a.m. is the Vata time. Again, if you wake up, when do we say is the Brahma Muhurta? Is around 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Your mind is kind of very alert and you have slept well. Your mind is ready to take any tasks. So if you want to plan ahead of time, I would recommend wake up like 5:30, 6 o'clock, meditate, plan your whole day. You will come up with great ideas. Then you can incorporate those during daytime. But early morning is the most auspicious time. We call it as a Brahma Muhurta. Even conventional medicine, all the calming hormones in the body are secreted in the early morning. So that is the best time. So this is kind of the Mother Nature's secret is Ayurveda is offering us, Ayurveda is giving us. Says this is the time, make the best use of it and do all your rituals during those time and you will really stay healthy and you will achieve the best of your days. Okay, so during day, as I said, Kapha, Pitta, Vata. Pitta is digestion, Vata is planning, strategy, activities and all. And during night, the Kapha time is more to relax, watch TV, listen to the music, painting, drawing, just taking a leisure walk and all those things you can do it in the evening. And then Pitta time is the building new cells, healing the body and all that. And the Vata is the mind is very active, new ideas and all those kind of things. So this wheel looks very simple, but it has a profound meaning and profound wisdom filled in this simple circle. Very, very important. Then how can we use and make the best use of this time? for our benefit. So I told you that wake up in Vata time around 5 o'clock. That's what our 5:30, max 6 before sun rises. So you are waking up into Vata time. So you are energized because Vata is the wind, lot of energy. You will wake up here. Then do your meditation and all. We'll talk about all these steps later. Then eat breakfast. Ayurvedically, we don't tell to people to eat very heavy breakfast. So breakfast is not eating like a king, but it's a light breakfast because kapha dosha is not the energy for digestion. So eat light breakfast and then follow your list if you have one, or do some productive work. That depends. Now you are senior. So if you want to go for exercise, if you want to do some social work, you want to help volunteer work, or if you want to do some teaching, to do anything you is in your to-do list, then that productive work will happen in the mornings. Then around 11 o'clock or so, think about your lunch time, cook, prepare your food, and make a lunch as a main meal in the afternoon, because that is the peak of Pitta dosha. So is your Pitta dosha. The sun is at the peak in the afternoon and your Pitta dosha is at the peak. So it will digest food very well. So instead of eating at 2, 3, 4 p.m., Ayurveda recommends to eat lunch between noon to 1. Then in the afternoon, again, you are like in the morning, I told you, you had 2, 3 hours to do some productive work. Again, in the afternoon also, you had 2, 3 hours to do exercise if you want to. You can take hobby classes. You can join senior center. You can do some social work. It's literally the sky is the limit. But when you organize it, then those 24 hours, you have plenty of time in your hand. That's the beauty of it. Then eat your dinner around like sunset. But I would recommend it, eat your dinner early when the sun is in the horizon, because sun is the representation of kind of digestion. So if you eat very late dinner, then body is not going to digest that. So eat around like sunset. And then do all the hobby things I mentioned to you. And bedtime should be around like 10, 10:30 or max 11 p.m. because this pitta is going to transform whatever you ate into new cells and new tissues, your muscles, your bones, your blood, your skin, and all those tissues, the cells are, old cells are dying, new cells body is creating, and this is the time. And remember, if you are doing something during this time, you are on the computer, you are watching TV, you are doing something else, your body sits on the back burner. Body does not do its job because body says that you go to bed and I will take care of everything else because this is my time to heal the body. But we end up staying up and doing something. Like if the high schoolers, they end up finishing their assignments. You are working age, you are busy finishing your projects. You are seniors, you are busy watching TV or something, but most of the time your bedtime is generally at midnight or 1 o'clock or even 2 a.m., which is very, very wrong. And if you do this once or twice, it doesn't matter. But that one drop at a time, and it kind of creates the lake the same way. One imbalance at a time, and that accumulates. Like, or one snowflake at a time. Every snowflake does not make a whole snowball, but all snowflakes together makes a snowball. That's how happens when that imbalances, doing wrong things, right things at the wrong time, start accumulating the imbalance, and one day you start seeing the symptoms. So that's what, if you follow these times and all, is best thing. Let me also tell you another thing. A lot of people wake up around like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and they keep thinking about it. They keep worrying about it. Lots of thoughts come to their mind, or if they're sleeping, they start seeing the dreams. And that all means their mind is very active, mind is very restless, mind is very anxious. And that's what that mind wakes you up. Even if you're sleeping sound rest of the days, but when you have a lot on your mind, you will wake up like alarm clock at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And you will stay up till 6 or so. And when time to get up, you will fall very asleep. And that means your emotional state, your mind is not peaceful. There is a lot of anxiety, worry, stress, depression, something is happening and all that. So when you complain about the problems, like for example, people get a lot of allergies, mucus congestion, they sneeze 100 times a day or more. Why? Those are kapha things. So why in the morning? Because this is the kapha time. That's what they get the symptoms. And the second bout happens after sunset. If you have some pitta related problems, you will have those problems showing you the results in the afternoon or at night. So this wheel has a lot to do with our health or our ill health. Very important. So start making best use of these times and this knowledge and the wisdom, so that is going to help you a lot. So let us see that what we should be doing in the morning. And I told you, wake up early in the morning. Ideal to wake up few minutes before sunrise. And why? You are waking up into Vata time. Vata time is the wind time. That is the energy time. You really feel well rested and you wake up with plenty of energy. And your mind also is very peaceful. Mind is very alert and all. And we always say that sattva guna in the morning, early morning and all, in the nature, in the environment, there is a lot of sattva guna. And what is sattva guna? Is the knowledge, the light, the ideas, the peace. So that is sattva. What is rajasic? Rajasic, constantly action and movement and all that. And what is tamasic is the heaviness and the darkness and the lethargy and all that. So when you wake up in kapha time, heavy time, then that's how you will feel. You don't feel more energized. But if you wake up before sunrise, at least few minutes, you will really see that you feel more energetic physically and emotionally. And that's what these two sayings, early bird catches the worm. And what does it mean? Just wake up early, plan your day, get things done, so you will be successful in doing those things. Or early to bed and early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. So friends, remember, all these old sayings and things have meaning to that. And if you follow that, you will really see the benefit of that in your own life. And remember, I'm not preaching it. That is our experience. We all are seniors and we grew up in India when we were young and we followed all this. So we know it and we see exactly the contrast happening here. And that's why you have to keep on doing it so you become the role model for your children and for your grandchildren and all. Then when you wake up, first thing is bowel movement. Good bowel, BM is bowel movement. Getting good bowel movement is a sign of good health. As I mentioned to you, your digestion should be good, but your elimination should be regular and complete also. That is the great sign of good health. Let me also give you an example. Suppose you have a house plant and you water that plant, but that planter has a hole at the bottom. So it will drain excess water. But if there is no hole to that planter, the plant will die because the water is not draining. Same way, if you have a habit that you are chronically constipated and all, you may have many symptoms, but the cause could be your constipation. So sign of good bowel movement, having good bowel movement is a sign of perfect health or good health. And for that way, if you don't have to do any effort, that's great. You are born with it. But if you need some help, then I would recommend you drink 1 or 2 glasses of lukewarm water in the morning. If you want to add lemon juice to that, go ahead and do it. That will also help you. Then, or you can drink 1 cup of warm milk and 1 teaspoon ghee a night before. That will also lubricate your whole digestive system and you will get good bowel movement. Third tip, take Triphala. Everybody knows about Triphala. Is half a teaspoon of Triphala with warm water a night before at bedtime. So if you have to work at it, then these 3 tips will be great for you. And remember, Triphala is not habit forming. So you can continuously take that. That will be beneficial. Then you had good bowel movement, then brush your teeth, scrape your tongue, and gargle with sesame oil or Triphala tea. And in our first seminar, I mentioned to you, this is called oil pulling. You take 1 tablespoon of warm sesame oil and swish it in your mouth for like good 7 minutes or so, and then spit it out. And you will see with that sesame oil will lubricate your whole mouth. It will coat your gums and teeth and your mucous membrane and tongue and all that. And even all your 5 senses, your vision, your nose, your ears and all, those hearing, smelling, seeing and all, will also those senses get lubrication by doing this oil pulling. So very, very important. This oil pulling has becoming kind of in thing recently, but Ayurveda has been talking about this, Kavala and Gandusha for like thousands of years. But keep on, try it and you will see the benefits. And then also you can just gargle or use mouthwash instead of like any chemical mouthwash. You can just make Triphala tea and do that, the mouthwash. And again, Triphala tea will also strengthen your teeth and gums and keep your mouth very kind of fresh, and it will prevent most of the teeth decay and weak teeth and falling teeth and all that. Very important. Very simple, but very important tip. Then you can look here why I say the scraping the tongue. Look at this tongue on the left. It has so much white coating on the tongue. And most of the people have that. And that means your body is not digesting food well. But look at the tongue on the right. It's kind of completely clean and pink tongue. Yeah, so that is kind of the sign of good digestion. And again, do you know it's so, Ayurveda is so in-depth. So if this white coating is in the front, 1/3 of the tip, then that means you have indigestion in the stomach. If it is in the middle, kind of in this picture, it is in the small intestine. If it is in the back, you have some issues with the colon. So your tongue, watching your tongue, cleaning your tongue, you are kind of helping your whole digestive system also. So make a habit of scraping your tongue every day. And if you have some ama in your system, your tongue will be again white. So you may have to take some digestive herbs and some spices. I will talk about it during last seminar. But this tongue, left tongue, white coating tongue is the sign of indigestion, and clear tongue, clean tongue is a sign of good health. Then splash your face with warm water, eyes with cool water, because eyes is the seat of fire element. So eyes always like the coolness in the water, but rest of the face you can wash with the warm water. So I'm just taking some time to explaining to you all these things, but doing it takes only few minutes. So you don't have to worry about it. I'm not telling you to do all these rituals for hours and hours. It will take only few minutes. Then sit and do some pranayam and meditation. Very, very important. Even these days, we all went through the COVID pandemic. And if you want to keep your lungs very healthy, pranayama is the best thing for that. Again, pranamaya kosha. I told you, annamaya kosha is the physical body. Pranamaya kosha is the prana sheath, is the bridge between your annamaya kosha and manomaya kosha. So doing pranayama helps to calm down your mind and energize your body, get your body into balance. So pranayama, tremendous benefits. It does not cost you anything. Only what you need is a discipline. And there are different ways of pranayama, like Anulom Vilom and Kapalabhati and Bhastrika and all that. So you can learn that from your yoga teacher, or you can watch on YouTube, because I don't have much time during these sessions. But pranayama is very, very beneficial. So spend few minutes doing that in the morning. And then meditate. Meditation, another thing. The whole day we are so busy doing things, but calming your mind down, achieving that mindfulness, that peace of mind in the morning is very, very important. So you can chant on Om, you can chant with the music, visualization, whatever way you are comfortable with, but at least spend few minutes doing this meditation early in the morning. Then make your to-do list. Eat your breakfast. Breakfast should be the fast break between dinner and lunch. I told you this is in kapha time, so eat light. So less quantity, and food should be little savory. Then why meditation? I just want to, during this talk, I want to emphasize more on the function of a mind, because we all are so stressful and we are so anxious and kind of worried about something. So life is a mind game, okay? And mind is like a middleman. Look at this sign here. We have 5 senses. We can hear with our ears. We can touch with our hands, with the skin. We can see with the eyes. We can taste with our tongue. And we can smell with the nose. So we have these 5 senses. So we stay in touch with the external world through these 5 senses. But your tongue does not tell you that chocolate chip cookie is sweet or ice cream is sweet. Or you don't just actually realize the music by hearing through your ears. All these 5 senses, like your ears and your touch, your eyes, your tongue, your nose, just takes in the impulses in, and mind carries it to the intellect, and intellect processes that, and that's when the realization happens. Okay, this is like exactly like computer. We all know the language of computer. We type something in the keyboard and that information reaches CPU, that is Central Processing Unit. And that Central Processing Unit is actually processing what we typed, and then we see it on the monitor. Same way our intellect is processing that information. So your tongue doesn't tell you that ice cream is sweet. Your intellect matches that information which tongue brings in, and then we say that ice cream is sweet. But all this happens in the fraction of a moment. And that's what we think, that once we put anything on the tongue or we see something, we know, but it has to reach the intellect. And that's why what is the middleman is the mind. And that's why if only the mind is present, mind is peaceful, then only is going to connect your smell to your intellect, or your whatever you eat to your intellect, whatever you see to your intellect, whatever you touch, your mind carries that information to your intellect. You're hearing the music or something, your mind carries that to the intellect, and then realization happens. So mind is the connection. So mind is said in our philosophy as is the ear of the ear, is the eye of the eye. And what is the meaning? That's why if the mind is attached to that sense, then it takes that information faster than speed of light to the intellect, and we know the meaning of what we saw or what we ate or what we heard. And that's why the mind is the key point. Even look at this picture here, that we all know this is the Ratha, the chariot in Bhagavad Gita. And there are 5 horses, beautifully ornamented horses. And those horses means all these 5 senses. And there are the reins, and those reins means the mind. And who is holding that reins in the hand is Lord Krishna. That is the intellect, that is the buddhi. So if Krishna let go of these reins, these all 5 horses will take you in different direction. And that is our current life. We don't think, all these senses are kind of pulling our mind so externally, and that's why it's running, this mind is running after your senses in this world. I want to eat more, I want to see more, I want to smell more, I want to touch more, and all that. And we are brainwashed by all these ads on the TV and computer and magazines and newspapers and all that, so that we are never kind of mindful. Our mind is not directed inward, and that's what we go through this life of stress and anxiety and all that. But if we meditate, then our buddhi, our intellect will hold on to these 5 senses. 5 senses are important, but they need to be held clearly and strongly, so they will stay on the path, right path, and they will make our life more kind of balanced and more joyful. And that's what we always say, that if the mind is directed outward, it becomes very bhogi. And that bhogi means indulgence in so many things makes you rogi. But if the mind is directed inward, it becomes yogi. So it is very important to keep the balance of all these three things. Senses are important, but the mind is the key, is to hold these reins, is to hold on in our buddhi. So we always have to live in this buddhi level so we can take the right decision and then achieve everything in life. Okay, very, very important. These pictures and this slide is very important. And that's what the mind gives the meaning to the life, because mind carries that information to intellect and then tells us the meaning or realization happens. And that's why mind must be single pointed, one thing at a time, ek chitta, not multitasking. You do one thing at a, if you are eating, just eat. If you are playing, just play. If you are watching TV, just watch TV. If you are listening to the music, just listen to the music, but do only one thing at a time. So all of a sudden, you will know, you will become more aware, you will become more understanding about what you are doing, and you will enjoy that thing, and your life will be full of joy. And another important, mind must be in the present moment. But most of the time, our mind is in the past, regretting about all the past things, or mind in the future, worrying about, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? So mind is never in the present. But friends, remember, life only happens in the present moment. Past is gone, is the history. Future is not yet here, so is the mystery. But present is the gift given to us by nature. So try to live in the present. Make your mind single pointed. Be positive. Then only life, your mind will give meaning to your life. And all this will happen if you meditate every day, at least few minutes. In the morning and before going to bed, I would strongly recommend do this 5 minutes. And remember, you are not only mindful when you are doing the meditation, but whole day you are in that meditative state. So whatever you are doing 24/7, you will do it with your mind in the meditative state. And all of a sudden, your life will have so much meaning. That's why I love this slide and this connection and our philosophy and spirituality and all, because it's not only the spirituality, but how we can use that spirituality in our day-to-day life and change our life to be something positive. Then exercise, join the exercise class. I will tell you, you are on your own, and we always say, okay, not today, but definitely tomorrow. But tomorrow never dawns. So join a class, so you will do it regularly. You will meet other people there. You will make new friends. So it is important. And that will happen if you join the class. Then exercise in moderation. Do not lift very heavy weights. Don't strain yourself too much. Ayurveda always say exercise in moderation. And what is the sign? If you sweat on your forehead, if you sweat around your nose and all, that means you have exercised enough and stop. And especially in our golden years, we should not be doing very strenuous exercise. We have to just keep on doing exercise till our body is more flexible and we can just use all our arms and legs and all to do all the activities. And it also secretes endorphins, which have euphoric, means calming effect, joyous effect on the body, and also it relieves pain. And we want to live longer. For why? We have to move things, we have to do things, and to do things, exercise always helps. Also, another benefit of exercise, it improves your digestion. It cleanses your body, detoxifies your body, boosts your immune system. So many good benefits of doing some kind of exercise every day. Then do self-abhyanga. I also told you, if you want to not get old, then start doing the abhyanga. Massage your whole body at least 2-3 times a week. Leave that oil on for 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then take a long shower. It is literally anti-aging. Ayurveda says that if you massage your body, it will keep, old age will be away from you. So it's a very good habit. Then take shower. Again, as I mentioned to you, doing the right thing at the right time. And when do we take shower? At night. But it's okay if you take at night, but in the morning, taking shower is important because at night, I told you, body is creating new cells, and in that process, some waste, it creates some waste. And those, we have some secretions in the eyes. We don't have clear breath. All our skin also, we don't feel very fresh. So when you take shower in the morning, it opens up all the channels. And when the channels are open, you feel more energetic, you feel light, you feel energized. So even if you take shower at night, I would recommend take quick shower in the morning, very important. Then clothes, wear comfortable, breathable and seasonal clothes. And why seasonal? Because in winter, we want to protect ourselves. During summertime, we want to use like white color, blue color clothes, cotton clothes, because we are sweating a lot and all. So change according to the season and all. So you are all set. Now start following your to-do list. So you made this list in the morning. So you start, this is kind of the time to start getting things done. So all your morning rituals are kind of over. Then in the afternoon, lunch should be the main meal. I showed you, your sun is at the peak. Pitta is at the peak in the afternoon. So make lunch as a main meal around 12 to 1. Then eat till you feel full. Don't eat less and don't eat more. And you will say, how would you know? If you pay attention, if you are eating mindfully, you will know it. And remember, there is also one trick. You burp when you are full. When you burp, you stop. That is a sign that your stomach is full 75%. And there is one rule, 75%. So when you eat, when you stop, when you burp, there is some space left in your stomach. So food can move around and it helps digestion. It's exactly like we use the pot for cooking and we cannot fill it to the rim, then we cannot stir it. The pot should be max filled with 75%, like 3/4, and leave 1/4 space for the food to stir. Same way, you eat till you feel full, but don't eat over full or don't eat even less. Then make eating as a ritual. That means sit at one place, kind of have the flowers, maybe you can play even the music and all. Make it a ritual. Don't just eat on the go and eat mindfully. Very, very important. Then after, within like half an hour or so, you will feel a little bit heavy and you will feel like dozing off. So Ayurveda recommends to take a cat nap. And why is the name cat nap? Because if you have cat, watch it. The cat goes to the corner, takes a quick nap and starts running around. Same way, you just 15 to 20 minutes, you just kind of take a nap. And Ayurveda even goes one step further. Ayurveda says Vama Kukshi. Kukshi means side. So lie down on your left side because that helps your digestion, and because the food stays in the stomach and it aids in your digestion. On the right side, we call is the Pingala Nadi, heating side. On the left side is Chandra Nadi, cooling side. So when we sleep on left side, that cooling side closes and heating side stays up, and that aids in digestion. Such a profound information. That's what Ayurveda says, lie down on the left side. This guy doesn't know about it, so he's sleeping horizontally. But mainly if you want, but I would recommend you take only nap 15-20 minutes. Don't sleep in your bed with your comforter on for a couple of hours. That is not a nap. That is a sleep, which is really bad. And that will make you gain weight. That will increase your sugar. You will have some heart issues. But if you take a nap, they did some research and they said it improves your mood, alertness and all, and does not interfere with your nighttime sleep. So as we get older, then taking 1 or 2 naps during daytime, at least one, is very, very healthy and beneficial. But if you take like sleep for long hours, then it will increase your risk of cardiovascular disease, the heart problems, diabetes, and all those kind of things. But if you take a nap, that is very beneficial. Then in the afternoon, again, you took a nap, you are refreshed again. Then take some classes, do some productive work, do some volunteer work, go and help other people. Take some hobby classes, painting, play piano, learn to play piano, learn to do dance, do something that you will enjoy. Or join some satsang. Satsang is always beneficial for your mind, for your spirituality and all. Satsang, that is the sang is the group or the companionship for the pure, for the truth, for the purity, for the pure knowledge or knowing your who you are and all that is the truth. Or you can exercise. So do whatever you makes you happy, but instead of just sitting at home watching TV, do some productive work. You are retired, you are in your golden years. So whatever you did not do before, this is the time to do it. In the evening, eat dinner around 6 to 7 p.m. Again, light in nature because in the evening sun is not strong. So eat light dinner. And then in the evening, take Shatapauli. Shatapauli means what? Take 100 steps, leisure walk. Means take 15-20 minutes of leisure walk in the evening after you finish your meal. That also helps you to digest food better. Then it's again your time to relax, watch TV, watch a movie, read, listen to the music, whatever you love to do. Before going to bed, put 5 drops of lukewarm sesame oil in your both ears. I recommended you. If it is problem for you, maybe do it only twice a week. But 2 to 5 drops of oil will not block your ears. I will definitely tell you that. Then put couple of drops of ghee in your both eyes. Why ghee in the eyes? Because ghee is cooling and your eyes are heating, kind of seat of fire element. So that's why. Even both nostrils also. So your nostrils will be kind of smooth, supple, and you will not have any breathing problems. Then meditate for a few minutes and also write a gratitude journal. Very, very important. Feel great about having this good life. Think great about being healthy. Think great about having your great family. Think great about having this healthy life and all that. Show your gratitude for all the positive things happening in your life. Don't just broad on all this negativity, but think positive and also think about the positivity for all your friends and your neighbors and extend that to all the people you don't know. So it is kind of spreading the positive note or spreading the joy around you. And then the bedtime around 10 p.m., not at 12 or not at 1 a.m. or something, but going to bed around 10 p.m. So friends, always remember what we followed these steps. So what we did, we stayed in tune with nature. We used the best time of knowledge of this Kapha, Pitta, Vata time, and we did the right activities during right time. And that's what we are swimming with the current. And we will definitely reach our goal to be healthy and more happy. So always remember that staying healthy is not a rocket science. It's not very expensive. But what needs to be done is you have to be disciplined. You have to be orderly. You have to be mindful. And when that happens, then staying healthy is like a piece of cake. So follow Dinacharya, wake up and at least do these 3 things. Wake up at 6, go to bed at 10, eat only 3 meals, light breakfast, good lunch, light dinner, exercise 1 hour and meditate for half an hour. 15 minutes morning, 15 minutes at night and all. And do these rituals as much as possible. And literally you will see that we always say, what is the limit to my thing? Sky is the limit for achievement of the day. And that's what is the limit is the daily routine. What is the limit is the circadian rhythm, is the daily routine, the dinacharya is the kind of boundary to your achievement of the day. And if you follow this dinacharya, literally, I can tell you that you will really start seeing so much difference in your health, so much difference in the state of your mind, and you will be more peaceful and more happy. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you all about the dinacharya. So that means doing the right thing at the right time and the right way, and staying in tune with Mother Nature. Okay, so now I will, so here is my additional information is, again, my phone number, my email address. If you want to get in touch with me, just write down or take a picture of this slide and call me. I work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay, so I will just stop sharing this presentation. And I hope you learned something new and you understand something by following Dinacharya and how is it going to help you. Okay. And somebody asked me about my clinic, and I see clients if you are out of town. I live in Dallas. If you are out of town, I do consultation on Zoom. And for seniors, I charge $125 for 1 hour. My original fee is $170, but for seniors, it is $125. And I have many herbs with me. I create special formulas based on each individual need. And the herbs cost $32 for 100 capsules. And if you need more details, then call me at the office. So I will tell you what you need to know more about it. Okay. So Hema, now it's your time to ask me questions.
Right. You said it so beautifully today that I was listening also again. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
So back to the questions.
Okay.
The first one is it okay to exercise 30 minutes after breakfast? There will be the food in the stomach, yoga poses like mountain pose, shoulder stand, bending forward to touch the toes, brings mouth below the stomach. Food may come out of mouth.
So always remember, there has to be some time in between. Okay, when you eat, you cannot exercise right away because your body sends, you have about 5 liters of blood. It's kind of directed toward which activity you are doing. So if you are eating, then blood goes to your digestive system. So next 1 hour, don't exercise. But if you exercise, then don't eat right away. There has to be kind of the gap in between, because when you are exercising, when you are doing yoga, all the blood is going towards your muscles. Okay, so there always has to be the gap. You cannot exercise and eat, or you cannot eat and exercise right away. And what I'm seeing, Hema, is working people, what they do, they exercise during lunch hour. And then they go to their office and then they quickly take a bite and then start working again, which is not a good idea. Or they run the errand, they go and see the doctor during their lunch hour. They do anything but eat lunch during lunch hour. So those kind of things become a problem. But remember, now we have plenty of time, okay? So at least you start doing the right thing at the right time.
Okay. What if you sleep on and off at night after menopause?
What do you mean by on and off? Sleep should be sound. Then people sometimes ask me that how many hours sleep do we need? If you sleep sound, then even 6 hours of sleep is enough for you. Okay, you can wake up early in the morning. But normally for people, generally 7 to 8 hours of sleep is plenty. Okay, and if you are waking up and going back to sleep, again you are waking up, going back to sleep, that means you are not sleeping sound. Then you may have some issue.
Okay. The next question was the same. How many hours of deep sleep we need, which you already answered.
Yes.
So the next question, warm water using microwave or a stove?
Okay. As much as possible, do not use microwave, because even kind of the mechanism of microwave is those bonds between the food particles breaks and they collide with each other and it creates the heat. Okay, so using the stove is always the best. And there was life before microwave, and we can live without microwave also.
Yes.
So as much as possible, don't use microwave. Only in emergency, use microwave. Otherwise, don't.
Any tips for oil pulling? How to keep the oil in the mouth for 7 minutes without swallowing it or having your mouth get tired?
Your mouth doesn't get tired. You just have to switch that oil in all different directions. Do it, you can do it vigorously, you can do it gently based on you, but
Yes.
you won't get tired. Just kind of just watch yourself or do something in the mirror, but yeah, it won't have a problem. If you just take it and spit it out within a couple of minutes, then you are not going to get the benefits. At least minimum 5 minutes you have to keep it in mouth.
Okay. How to prepare Triphala tea?
Okay, so if you take like half a teaspoon of Triphala and 1 glass of water, boil it for a few minutes and then strain and just use that as a Triphala tea.
Should we brush teeth before gargling with sesame oil or other way around?
Now, if you are doing oil pulling, yes, you can do it. Brush your teeth first and then do the oil pulling. And then if you are gargling with Triphala tea, do it at the end, because that moistness of the oil or the astringent bitter taste of Triphala tea will stay in your mouth and it will kind of strengthen your teeth and gums more.
I have bridges in my mouth. Should I do gargle with sesame oil?
Yes, you can definitely do the gargling. Yeah.
What does Ayurveda recommend related to 1, intermittent fasting and 2, periodic water fasting?
Okay, first thing is fasting is excellent. What does fasting do? That gives your digestive system time to do the digestion of all the leftover food. Remember, we constantly eat, we munch, we eat every 2-3 hours and all. So body is not digesting food that well. This is like, think about your work in the office. You have so many files in your work, and one day nothing is coming in, then you get time to take care of all the leftover files. The same way, when you fast 1 day a week, okay, so that gives your digestive system some rest and time to digest. So you will feel lighter, you will feel more energetic, and your digestive fire, your Agni will also improve. And that's what in our culture, we always fast. As we grow older, we always fast, right? I am Shiva Bhakta, I'm fasting on Monday, I'm Devi Bhakti, I'm fasting on Tuesday or Friday and all that. Well, the idea is all related to health, is resting your system. But again, I cannot just tell you exactly every day, hey, every week fast 1 day. That depends on your prakriti. So if you are more pitta prakriti, your Agni is going to be strong. So you can just eat some fruit or drink liquids and you can fast. If you are more kapha, your Agni is a little bit kind of slow, then complete 1 day fast or at least skipping 1 meal completely will be good. If you are Vata dosha predominant, then eating only 3 meals is fasting for Vata people, because they're constantly eating and doing things. So based on your prakriti and based on your eating pattern, you can fast. But I don't like intermittent fasting, haphazardly. There's sometimes keeping 16 hours, sometimes keeping 12 hours and all those kind of things. So based on, suppose on the weekend, on Saturday, you go out to eat. Then on Sunday, skip your breakfast. Just pay attention to your body. Body will tell you when you are so hungry, then you can eat. Otherwise, you can skip breakfast, even you can skip lunch, but by dinner time, you are so hungry. You will be ready to eat even somebody. You will feel that hungry. So that kind of a thing, you always have to pay attention to your body. You have to internalize watching your body, because body always sends you signals of all these things.
What are the things we can do for acne and for eczema for 23-year-old?
For acne, you said?
Acne and eczema
Okay.
For a 23-year-old person.
So 23-year-old, you can see that person is in the midlife, that is, it is mainly in the Pitta life cycle. And if that person is predominantly Pitta, or they are eating or following the routine, which is aggravating their Pitta, that's why they get acne or they get blisters on their body and skin and face and all that. That means but see, Hema, this is very personalized question.
Yes.
Because what that person is eating, what is her or his lifestyle, what is his or her prakriti and all. So many things depend on that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Which taste, like sweet, salty, sour, bitter, astringent, or pungent, are part of savory breakfast?
Okay, it's a good question. Savory means little bit adding spices, and sour taste, salty taste, and pungent. Pungent is eating spices like ginger and garlic and garam masala and all that. Sour, you all know. Salty, all of you know. Those three tastes have fire element in it, and that's what that food is little savory. And that's what, if you see, our Indian breakfast is never sweet. If you are in the southern state, you eat idli and sambar. If you are in Maharashtra, or you eat upma, you eat pohe. Breakfast is never kind of very sweet, because it's morning time is kapha time. And that's what, if you add a little bit spices to your thing, like if you are eating eggs and toast, then sprinkle some black pepper or chili flakes on your toast. That makes it savory.
Right. You answered the next question also. She was saying, what should we eat for breakfast?
Okay, again, that depends on what your prakriti is, what season you are in. As I said, is maybe a small bowl of pohe or upma or idli and sambar, or if you are very vata, then eating some kheer or oatmeal cereal. Those kind of things are good. So based on your prakriti and the season, that will change.
Right. Why some people have lactose intolerance and how it can be cured?
Okay, my experience is, if you were able to digest milk and milk products before, and if you have lactose intolerant recently, then your digestive system is not functioning well. What I would recommend, add pinch of ginger powder in that milk and boil that milk for a few minutes and then drink it. Ginger will improve your digestion and you may not be lactose intolerant. Okay, or in Indian store, you get something called pippali, and add 1 or 2 pieces of pippali in that milk and boil it for a few minutes and then strain, take that pippali out. But all the pungency of pippali will get in the milk when it is boiling, and it will improve your digestion and you may not be lactose intolerant. But many times what happens here in US, we drink cold milk. That coldness in the milk causes more mucus and allergies and those symptoms. So if you warm it up or add pinch of ginger or pippali or vidanga or something in that milk, then it won't bother you so much.
Okay. Dr. Apte, my dad had skin in mouth. He has become too thin and causes tear in skin and cannot eat any solid food. Intensity comes and goes. What to do?
Okay, simple thing, if his skin is very thin and it causes like ulcers or lacerations in mouth, then our Indian spice called licorice, that is, we call, in Hindi we call mulhatti, in Marathi we call jeshtamad. It is very, very healing. So what you can do, and this licorice powder is available in Indian store. So half a teaspoon of licorice powder, boil it in a glass of water, and or maybe you can mix that licorice powder in ghee and apply it inside the mouth. That will also heal the stomach ulcers. And cut down on spices, because spices mainly cause these mouth ulcers.
Okay. For ringing in ear, you mentioned sesame oil drops at night.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you specify how long we should do it?
It is always a good idea. Remember, we have 5 Mahabhutas, body is made up of. So Akasha Mahabhuta and Vayu Mahabhuta. So Akasha is related to the ears. And Vayu Mahabhuta is related to our skin. And that's what massaging the skin and putting few drops of oil in the ears, it calms down your Vata dosha. And in our old life, we are into Vata stage of life. Okay, so even as a prevention, you can do this 2-3 drops of sesame oil in both ears, maybe 3-4 times a week, and massaging your whole body with sesame oil. That is a good habit. It's not only for ringing, even not to get ringing or to prevent the deafness, this putting oil drops is beneficial.
Okay. Methi dana is giving body heat.
Yes.
I have diabetes and eczema. Is it okay to take 25 danas before bed?
Okay. Methi is heating, remember. And if you have I don't know exactly you have eczema or psoriasis or something, but methi, though it is bitter, it is very, very heating. And 25 danas will be a whole lot. Maybe you can try like 5 or max 10 sesame seeds. You can soak it in water and then take it in the morning. They drink water and also chew the seeds, but cut down on methi dana.
Can we use oil after shower?
Ayurveda always recommends Snehana and Svedana. Okay, so massaging with the oil, leaving that oil on for 15 minutes so your skin can absorb it, and then taking shower is the right sequence instead of showering and then massaging. Remember, you may always think that, oh, I'm taking shower, so I'm washing off all that oil from the skin, so my skin will be dry again. No, but when you are massaging and leaving that oil on, that oil being natural, your skin is absorbing all that oil. And when you take shower, that excess oil on the skin, which is not absorbed, will be washed off. But your skin will be very smooth and supple if you massage before taking shower.
And which oil we should use to do Abhyanga Snan?
Yeah, that Abhyanga is the massage. And that's what you will see is first massaging with warm sesame oil and then is taking the shower. That's why we call Abhyanga Snan. Like in Diwali, we always say we have to do Abhyanga, take Abhyanga Snan. That means first the massage and then taking warm, hot shower.
What's the benefit of putting ghee in your eyes and nose?
Okay. So, as I said, each Mahabhuta is related to each of our sense organ. I told you for your hearing is the Akasha Mahabhuta. For your skin, touching is the Vayu Mahabhuta. For the eyes is the fire or Teja Mahabhuta or Agni Mahabhuta. And that's why our eyes get affected with the sun's bright sunlight or the computer screens if you work long hours, or if you do something like a lot of cooking and all, it will also bother your eyes. So eyes is a seat of fire element, and that's what Ayurveda says to cool down that heat. Ghee is very cooling. And that's why for any eye problems, or even if you want to prevent eye problems and maintain your good vision, then put like 1 or 2 drops of ghee in your eyes at least 3-4 times, and do it at night. So because the ghee may make your vision a little blurred, but by the time you wake up in the morning, your vision will be completely clear.
Okay. After dinner, can we do the walk immediately or do we wait for some time?
Only wait for like 15 minutes or so. And remember, your evening walk is a stroll. It's a leisure walk. It's not a brisk walk. It's not exercise walk. It is you are just kind of aiding your digestion. So you take a leisure walk. So you can start walking within like 10-15 minutes. Do your dishes and go for a walk.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I wake up at 3 a.m. for bathroom. How to go back to sleep?
Exactly. You wake up at 3 a.m. When you are awake, naturally you are going to go to the bathroom. But if you are waking up 3 a.m. without alarm, that means your mind is waking you up and you have a lot on your mind. So I tell all these people one trick. Whatever thought comes to your mind at 3 a.m., write it down on a piece of paper. Or if you're sleeping by yourself, then talk it in the phone. but get it out of your mind, get it out of your system, and you will be surprised. The moment everything is on piece of paper, immediately you will fall back asleep and you will stay asleep. And I do so many things. And when I have a lot to do, my mind wakes me up. Hey, you have to prepare this presentation. Hey, you have to email this person. You have to call this person and all that. And literally, I sleep with one pen and a paper, like a notebook on my nightstand. So if these things come to my mind, I write it down. And within 5 minutes, I go back to sleep. So that is the mind time. Okay.
Okay. How much time there should be between exercise and eating?
As I said, always there you keep minimum half an hour, maximum or 45 minutes, and then you can do some other activity.
How many hours of TV or phone or sofa is okay?
Good question. I hope you will all listen to me. Best thing is to not more than 2 or 3 hours of TV and all you should watch. Okay. I watch maybe like an hour or hour and a half in the evening, but I keep myself so busy that I don't have much time.
Moringa leaves powder beneficial?
Yes, moringa leaf, moringas, those kind of those beans are very nourishes and improve digestion. Moringa skin of the peel of that tree is also very beneficial. You can make a sabji with those moringa leaves. Moringa is excellent. It is rich in vitamins, but more it is amapachana. Remember, I told you to improve your digestion. So moringa leaves make effect as a amapachana, digest all the food. So you can add even some moringa powder in your food, or if you get fresh leaves, definitely make that sabji sometime. Use those beans to put in your sambar or dal or something. Very beneficial.
Any preventing advice on popping sound in joints in old age?
Okay, if your joints are popping a lot, definitely you have more vata in your body. So massage those joints in the circular fashion with warm sesame oil. Generally, why our joints don't pop? Because we have a synovial fluid there, right? There is a fluid called synovial fluid, and it kind of protects your bone hairs and they don't kind of pop. But if because of the old age, because of the dryness, because of excessive vata dosha, if your joints are popping, then massaging helps a lot.
If we have to fast, which meal to skip? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
So that's what I also mentioned to you. Now, based on your Agni, based on your eating habits, it will change. In Ayurveda, we always say that depends. Somebody asks us question, what is this? That depends on your prakriti. That depends on your digestion. That depends on your daily routine. And that's what Ayurveda is very personalized. Ayurveda is very individualized. It's not one size fits all. Or take Tylenol or take this. No. Everything based on your prakriti and what is happening in your body.
Right. I cannot make up my mind to fast for a whole day. One worry is I have to take some medicines after eating something. What do you suggest?
See, nobody has stopped you completely, so you should not worry about it. Okay, you can skip one meal, and when you feel hungry during next meal time, then you just eat. Okay, nobody is kind of making you not to eat the whole day or 2 days or something. Everything paying attention to your body. When you feel very hungry, you should eat. There is no hard and fast rule. But everybody's Agni is different. That's what we cannot just tell exactly skip this meal or skip for these hours and all that. Always pay attention. Body is always sending you the signals.
What about afternoon tea and munching?
Okay, first thing, don't munch. You can drink 2 cups of tea, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. But generally people say when to eat fruit, not to mix with food and all. So afternoon is the time to eat the fruit. And I would recommend eating a whole fruit instead of just drinking juices, because whole fruit has pulp in it, it has fiber in it. And if you buy organic fruit, I would recommend to eat a small piece of peel also, not banana peel, but if you are eating orange, eat a small piece of orange peel. Even if you squeeze a lemon, eat a tiny piece of lemon peel. If you are eating mango, wash it thoroughly and eat small piece of that mango skin. When you are eating vegetables, wash them thoroughly, but do not peel everything. Potatoes, carrots, cucumber, keep the peel on because peel is very healing. Remember, what is the function of the peel or the skin of the fruit? Keeping all the juices and freshness inside, right? The same way, our skin, fruit peel is good for our skin. And we have skin not only outside, but also inside. So it is very healing. If you eat pomegranate, boil that pomegranate peel and wash your face. If you eat lemons and all, boil those lemon peels, orange peels in the water, wash your face with it. Your skin will have good tone. Even you can eat like a lemon zest, orange zest in the food. That works like a tenderizer. Okay, so if you want to increase the tone of your body, the peel is important.
It is hard to digest milk. Do Kapha people have easier time than Vata or Pitta people? Is noon better time than morning or night time to drink milk?
Kapha people, if they drink milk in the morning, they may get a little bit congestion. Right. But milk being sweet, it is good for Pitta people, it is good for Vata people also. But warm that milk. Do not drink refrigerated milk. That causes the problem.
I always take methi seeds for diabetes. It is heating. Is it okay to still continue?
If your Prakriti is Kapha dosha, if your Prakriti is Vata dosha, that heat will not bother you. But if your Pitta dosha, then it will bother you. Then you can take so many other things like bitter. You can eat Karela, you can eat Amla, you can take Guduchi, that is Giloy powder, that is available in Indian store. So you can take Pitta. If you are Pitta, you can take all these powders.
Okay. What to do if I wake up with leg cramps?
Okay, most of the time leg cramps is related to Vata dosha, also related to calcium. But what I have seen, if you really stretch your heels at night, if you have a leg cramp, and if you keep your heels stretched and flex your foot like a toes, that relieves the cramp.
How to increase synovial?
Massaging with oil, wearing socks will also help in not getting cramps.
How to increase synovial fluid in your joints?
Okay, so if generally Vata people have this dryness of the joint problem. So if you eat moist foods, then it will increase your synovial fluid, and oil is the trick. In the food also you can add oil and also massage your joints with the oil.
Is yogurt okay to have in the evening?
Don't eat yogurt in the evening. If you are eating, first thing is don't eat yogurt. If you make raita or if you make a yogurt rice, that's okay. But yogurt consistency is very mucus forming or clogging. So don't you eat yogurt by itself, but make buttermilk. Add in 1 cup yogurt, add 2 cups of water, churn it, and then add, you can pinch of salt, you can add pinch of hing, you can put a little bit fresh ginger root, cilantro and all, so that buttermilk becomes very appetizing. Or you can have chaj masala, you can do that. And a glass of that chaj in the afternoon mainly is very beneficial and improving digestion.
Okay, I have 2 more questions here. Any option to milk and yogurt for vegans?
Okay, if you are vegan, you cannot take milk, right? So it's the problem. Then you have to substitute with something else. But people always ask me, oh, I'm vegan, that's why I don't even eat ghee. But remember, in ghee, actually, there is no milk solid. Everything is gone, but it's the 100% fat. So even if you're vegan, maybe try some ghee, 1 or 2 teaspoons ghee. I'm very proponent of that much ghee every day. That helps a lot.
Yeah. It says diabetic people take small portions of food at a time instead of 3 meals. Is that true?
That's what is recommended to us. And remember, everybody, beginning June, I'm going to start giving talks on different diseases. Is diabetes and hypertension and cholesterol and eczema and psoriasis and all that. Once a month, you will get, I'm going to talk about this. So I will say more about this. But because when you have diabetes and you take metformin or something, then it stops converting your stored glycogen into blood glucose. And that's what doctor tell you to eat every 2 meals. But there are so many people who have diabetes and they eat only 3 meals and their sugar comes down. Okay, but it has to be monitored by the doctor. Don't be on your own and don't try these things.
That's
so,
all for me.
It's already 5:31. We start on time and we have to end on time. So
yeah, it is the time to end and no more questions.
Maybe one more last question.
One more, please.
Pardon me?
One more question.
Okay, one more question.
If you are on blood thinner, okay, can you take Triphala?
If you are on blood thinner, you can take Triphala. But ginger also is a natural blood thinner. So be careful when you eat ginger.
Okay.
What about turmeric?
What about turmeric?
You can take turmeric in less small quantity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, listeners, for joining. And I hope you learned something new. Next week, I'm going to talk about Ritucharya, like seasonal routine, how to change according to the season, and again, staying in tune with nature. Okay, so thank you, and have a great week. And see you
so much.
Thank
you very much, doctor.
Thank you so much. Enjoyable.
Okay,
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.